All of you, good morning. Today class is HP Heat Power Engineering. Unit is third chapter, Steam Boiler. Subject code is C18M402C. DME second year, 4th semester. We discuss about in today topic in Heat Power Engineering. We discuss in today topic is air preheater. To increase the temperature of air used for combustion. This purpose may be useful to the air free heater. To increase the temperature of air used for combustion. Heat the air by exit flue gases. Heat the air by exit flue gases. Heated air may be exit to the flue gases. It saves the fuel. Located between economizer and chimney. This air preheater is located between economizer and chimney. This is air preheater to increase the temperature of air used for combustion. Heat the air by exit flue gases. It saves the fuel to locate it between economizer and chimney. Air preheater. As shown in this figure, air preheater. Flow gas in heater air tubes, air in soot hopper to chimney. This component is there in air preheater. See this figure. Flow gas in heated air tubes, air in to chimney, soot hopper. This component is there air preheater. Air preheater types. Recuperative air preheater. Recuperative air preheater. Types of air preheater. Recuperative air preheater. Gases inside the tubes, air passes over the tubes. Gases inside the tubes, air passes over the tubes. Regenerative air preheater. Regenerative air preheater. Air and gases are passed alternately. Air and gases are passed alternately. Recuperative air preheater. Recuperative air preheater as shown this figure. Flow gas in heated air tubes, air in to chimney, soot hopper. Recuperative air preheater. This is as shown in this figure. Recuperative air preheater. Tubular type heat exchanger. In recuperative air preheater, tubular type heat exchanger consists steel tubes. Gas flow inside the tubes. Gas is flow inside the tubes. Air is circulated over the tubes and gets heated. Air at high temperature passes into the furnace. Recuperative air preheater, tabulator type heat exchanger. Tubular type heat exchanger consists steel tubes. Gas flow inside the tubes. Air is circulated over the tubes and gets heated. Air at high temperature passes into the furnace. Recuperative air preheater advantages. Increase in boiler efficiency. Increase in steam generation rate. Better combustion with less smoke. Low grade fuels can also be burned. Low grade fuels can also be burnt effectively. These are advantages of a recuperative air preheater: increase in boiler efficiency, increase in steam generation rate, better combustion with less smoke. Low grade fuel can also be burnt effectively.
Heater. And here you can see these are the different boiler accessories. And so that you can understand, air preheater is also one of the boiler accessories. So it is one of the boiler accessories. So you can understand it is not compulsory part of the boiler, but it is used to increase the efficiency of boiler. So let's start with the function of air preheater. Air preheater increases the temperature of the air which is supplied to the furnace with the help of the hot flue gases. So name itself indicate it is used to heat the air before supplying to the furnace. Now types of the air preheater. There are two basic types of the air preheater: recuperative, or sometimes it is called as a tubular type, and second one is the regenerative or feed water type. And here this figure is the first one, that means recuperative type air preheater. Now the location of the air preheater. It is installed air preheater. Now the location of the air preheater. It is installed between the economizer and the chimney. Here you can see, between the economizer and the chimney. Now the construction of the air preheater. A tubular type air preheater consists of a large number of tubes. Here you can see with the red colors. Flue gases passes through these tubes. Here you can see flue gases passes through these tubes. Air flows over the tubes. Here you can see air flows over the tubes. Baffles are provided. Here you can see with the black color, to pass the air number of times over the tubes. A soot hopper is provided at the bottom to collect the soot. Now the working of the air preheater. Hot flue gas passes through the tubes. Here you can see, after leaving the boiler or economizer. Atmospheric air is allowed to pass over these tubes. Here you can see air in. That means atmospheric air in. So very simple. Inside the tubes there is a flue gas, and outside the tubes there is a atmospheric air. Air and flue gas flow in opposite direction. Here you can see the flue gases are in downward direction, whereas air is in upward direction. Baffles are provided in the air preheater. Here you can see, to provide more time for exchanging heat from flue gas to air. Thus, heat is absorbed by the air from the flue gases. This preheated air is supplied to the furnace of the boiler. So very simple. The function of the air preheater is to increase the temperature of the air, so that it is called as the atmospheric air, and here it is heated air. Now next, advantages of the air preheater. Increases the evaporative capacity per kg of fuel. Increases approximately 2% boiler efficiency for each 35 degree to 40 degree Celsius rise in temperature of the air. That means if you are able to increase the temperature of the air up to 35 degree to 40 degree, then definitely you can increase 2% boiler efficiency. Gives better combustion with less smoke, soot and ash. Enables a low grade fuel to burn with less excess air. More images of the air preheater. So here you can see the baffles are provided with yellow colors. and here both the flue gases as well as the air in the same direction, whereas in this figure are in opposite direction. So this figure only used to understand the working and construction of the air preheater, but you have to use this figure only for the examination. If you want to see more engineering videos, then subscribe my YouTube channel and go.
Next we discuss about the in boiler accessories steam trap. To drain the condensed steam from pipes. Does not allow the steam to escape with condensate water. Does not allow the steam to escape with condensate water. Bucket type steam trap are most common. Bucket type steam traps are most common. The steam trap as shown in this figure, steam trap, bucket type, this steam trap, steam and condensate mixture. This is a steam and condensate mixture component. Valve, condensate, central tube. This is a central tube. This is a bucket, valve rod, outer vessel. This is a component of the steam trap. Bucket type steam traps consist a bucket with a valve rod. Central tube is fitted inside the outer vessel. Valve control the flow of water from vessel. Bucket type steam trap. Bucket overflow when it collect water sufficiently. This is a bucket type steam traps consist a bucket with a valve rod. Central tube is fitted inside the outer vessel. Valve control the flow of water from vessel. Bucket overflow when it collect water sufficiently. Bucket overflows when it collect water sufficiently. Bucket comes down due to weight. Valve open for discharging of water. Closed after empty bucket. This is a bucket overflow when it is collect water sufficiently. Bucket comes down due to weight. Valve open for discharging of water. Closed after empty bucket. This is the components of this steam condensate mixture. Valve, condensate, central tube, bucket, valve rod, outer vessel. These are component is there. Bucket type steam trap. Steam separator. This is a steam trap. We discuss about the steam trap.
At very low pressure and temperature, so no flashing occurs as it exits the venturi. This means there is no back pressure present to restrict the flow of cold condensate as it exits the delta trap. This cold water exits freely at 2 to 3 times faster than hot pressurized condensate can at running load. This absence of flash steam on startup is why Delta Venturi orifice steam traps are suitable for startup loads. Once all the cold condensate and non-condensable gases have been ejected, steam and hot condensate reach the Delta steam trap. As the steam continuously condenses to hot condensate in the pressurized steam system, it is fed to the steam trap by the pressure in the system. This hot condensate passes through the orifice and enters the mouth of the venturi. As the condensate passes through the mouth of the venturi, there is a sudden pressure drop, which causes a percentage of the hot condensate to change phase from condensate to steam, a phenomenon known as flashing. This flashing creates a back pressure zone in the mouth of the venturi. Because condensate is 1,000 times denser than steam, it is able to push through this back pressure zone while restricting the steam. As the pressure and load in the steam system vary, so too does the percentage of flash steam being created at the mouth of the venturi in the delta steam trap, which in turn allows the back pressure at the venturi to vary accordingly. This varying of back pressure at the mouth of the venturi allows the delta steam trap to self-regulate the condensate flow as the condensate load changes. As the pressure or load in the steam system rises or falls, the back pressure that is constantly changing at the mouth of the venturi also rises or falls. This action gives the delta venturi orifice steam trap the ability to easily manage discharging varying condensate loads in a steam trap that has no moving parts, while still keeping the steam in the system. In summary, delta venturi orifice steam traps are designed to outperform all conventional steam traps through their unique venturi design with no moving parts at all. Once installed, the delta venturi orifice steam trap will outlast and outperform any other mechanical steam trap in the same application.
For example, the thermodynamic disc trap is the most popular design used across all industries today. First patented in 1878, the thermodynamic disc trap operates on the difference in flow velocity between a liquid and a gas. When liquid is passed through the trap, the disc is pushed out of the way of the flow path, allowing free discharge of condensate. However, when steam or air enters the trap, the velocity of the flow increases and the disc is pulled onto the seat. When the steam keeping the disc closed condenses, the disc is pushed off of the seat and the cycle repeats itself. The cycling action of the TD trap results in drainage of the condensate in the steam line. However, the violent blast discharge results in large amounts of steam being lost during each cycle, as high-velocity steam flow is necessary to end the discharge cycle and close the trap. Many manufacturers of thermodynamic traps claim that flashing condensate is responsible for ending the discharge cycle and closing the trap. However, as this flow test on boiler blowdown demonstrates, the TD trap will not close in the presence of saturated condensate. Only steam flow through the trap will end the discharge cycle and close the trap. Laboratory testing shows not only that steam loss is necessary for the TD trap to operate, but also allows one to measure the amount of steam lost during each cycle of the trap. The average steam loss required for a thermodynamic trap to function is over 0.03 of a pound of steam per cycle. At current energy costs and a cycle rate of 6 times per minute, the amount of steam required to operate a fully functional thermodynamic trap is in excess of $1,000 per year. The amount of steam loss necessary to operate a population of 1,000 thermodynamic traps is in excess of $1 million annually.
Next we discuss about the steam separator. Placed near to the engine. This steam separator is placed near to the engine to remove water particles from steam. The steam separator is to remove water particle from steam. It consists buffle plates in the path of steam. When steam strikes the buffle plates, it flows in a curved path. When steam strikes the buffle plates, it flows in a curved path. particles separated due to centrifugal force and collected at bottom due to its weight. This is a steam separator as shown in this figure. Steam outlet, steam inlet, steam outlet, buffel plates, glass tubes, cock. This is a component is there in steam separator. Steam separator is placed near to the engine to remove water particle from steam. It consists buffel plates in the path of steam. When steam strike the buffel plates, it flows in a curved path. Particles separated due to centrifugal force and collected at bottom due to its weight. This is a steam separator. Steam separator as shown in this figure. This is called
engineering management. At the end of this video, you will be able to understand function, location, construction, working, model and animation of the steam separator. These are the different boiler accessories, and here you can see the steam separator is also one of the boiler accessories. So it is one of the boiler accessories, so you can understand it is not compulsory part of the boiler, but it is used to increase efficiency of boiler. Now let's start with the function of steam separator. It separates water particles from the steam before it is supplied to a steam engine or turbine, and so that it is also known as moisture separator or steam dryer. So name itself indicates it separates the moisture or water particles, or you can say it makes the steam dry. Importance of the steam separator. It is important to remove water from the steam because water droplets in steam reduces the thermal efficiency. Water may accumulate in the cylinder and cause hydrostatic lock that damages to the engine. In thermal power plants, water droplets in high velocity steam from the nozzles erode turbine blades also. Now the location of the steam separator, and here you can see both are the steam separator. A steam separator is placed near the engine. Here you can see this one is the steam turbine, means engine. Steam engine separators are placed to remove water particles from the steam as completely as possible before supplying to the steam turbine. Now the construction of the steam separator. There are different types of the steam separators. A separator with baffle plates is shown in this figure. So this is called as the baffle type steam separator. It consists of a cylindrical vessel. Here you can see the vessel is fitted with baffle plates. Here you can see these are the baffle plates. A water gauge is fitted to indicate the water collected in the separator. This is the water. A drain valve is provided to discharge water from the vessel. There are two steam pipes. Here you can see. Both are connected to the vessel as shown in figure. So the construction is very simple. You can understand from this figure easily. Now the working of the steam separator. The steam is allowed into the separator from the boiler, from this input pipe. The steam strikes baffle plates and the direction of the flow is changed. As a result, heavier water particles in the steam falls down to the bottom of the separator. The separated steam, which is free from the water, is passed to the turbine or engine through this output pipe. The water is collected and is drained out periodically with the help of this valve. Now let's see the animation of the steam separator. So as we have discussed, the steam is allowed into the separator from the boiler through this input pipe. So here the steam is in wet condition. That means the steam having moisture. So here you can see the moisture particles are there. But due to these baffles, the water particles are collected over here at the bottommost part of the vessel, and then only the steam without water particles will flow through this output pipe, and that will be supplied to the turbine. More images of the steam separator. So this one is the model of the steam separator, and here you can understand this is the input supply. That means the wet steam is supplied to the steam separator. With the help of these baffles, the water droplets will be collected at the bottommost part of the steam separator, and that will be periodically discharged with the help of the drain valves. And from here you can collect the dry steam. More image of the steam separator. Here this one is the real image of the steam separator in the power plant. If you want to see more engineering videos, then subscribe my YouTube channel and go to playlist.
Next we discuss about the steam injector. Supply feed water to boiler at a pressure greater than steam pressure in the boiler. No moving parts like pump. Thermal energy stored in the steam itself is used to pump the water into the boiler. First, the thermal energy is converted into kinetic energy of steam, which is in turn used to pump feed water into the boiler. This is a steam injector. Steam injector supply feed water to boiler at a pressure greater than steam pressure in the boiler. No moving parts like pump. Thermal energy stored in the steam itself is used to pump the water into the boiler. First, the thermal energy is converted into kinetic energy of steam, which is in turn used to pump feed water into the boiler.
Welcome to my YouTube channel, Mechanical Engineering Management. At the end of this video, you will be able to understand function, location, construction, working, model and animation of the injector. And these are the boiler accessories, and here you can see the injector. In the last video we have discussed about the feed pump. This one is the boiler accessories. So in short we can say it is one of the boiler accessories. So you can understand it is not compulsory part of the boiler, but it is used to increase the efficiency of boiler. So let's start with the function of the injector. And here you can see this one is the injector, and if you see in detail with the name, then it is like that. It is used to supply feed water by use of steam pressure. Here you can see by the use of the steam pressure, increase the water pressure. The pressure energy of the steam is used to increase the pressure and velocity of the feed water. So here you can say to increase the pressure of the feed water, or you can say to increase the velocity of the feed water. Now the location of the injector. It is located before feed check valve. This one is a feed check valve and it is located before feed check valve. Now the construction. So it has three cons. Steam con, here you can see. Next combined con, and next delivery con. So basically there are three cons in the injector. Now steam con is connected to the steam space. Here you can see this one is the steam space through the valve. Combined con is used to connect steam con and delivery con. Delivery con is connected to the water space. This one is the water through feed check valve. This one is the feed check valve. Now this is the simple figure you can use for the examination. Now the working of injector. The steam from the boiler with high pressure and a low velocity is sent to the injector. The flow is directed to the steam con. In conversing section, the steam velocity is increased to the speed of sound. At the diverging section, the pressure is converted into the kinetic energy again, so that the pressure is reduced below the atmospheric pressure, that means vacuum pressure, and so that it will create the water flow to the combined con. Next, during this process, the steam begin to condense and the water begin to get warmer. Speed of water was increasing due to the hammer effect of the steam jet. Further, narrowing the combined con, here you can see, increases the speed of water again. Before water reaching to the boiler, the flow velocity is reduced due to the diverging shape of the delivery con. Reduced speed increases the flow pressure above the boiler pressure, and it pushes the feed water to the boiler through the feed check valve. Next, advantages of the injector. Initial cost is low, simple in design, compact in nature, no moving parts, thermal efficiency is very high, easy of operation, maintenance cost is low. Because of no moving parts, obviously you can understand maintenance cost is low. Now let's see the disadvantages of the injector. Low pumping efficiency. Under extreme variation in steam pressure, the operation is irregular. Next, application of the injector. It is usually employed where space is not available to install a feed pump. Because of you know that feed pump is also used to increase the pressure of the water. Used for vertical and locomotive boilers. If you want to see more engineering videos, then subscribe my YouTube channel and go.
Next we discuss about the different performance indicators. Energy supplied to the boiler, energy required to form steam, evaporative capacity, boiler efficiency, factor influencing boiler efficiency, factor influencing boiler efficiency, boiler HP, equivalent evaporation. This topic discussing in today's class. We discuss about this topic. Performance of boiler, importance, to know evaporative capacity of boiler, to compare the boiler operating at different conditions. Performance of boiler, importance, to know evaporative capacity of boiler, to compare the boiler operating at different conditions. Performance of boilers. Terms related to performance of boilers. Terms related to performance of boiler. Energy supplied to boiler. Thermal energy absorbed by steam. Thermal energy absorbed by steam. thermal efficiency of boiler, evaporating capacity, boiler power, equivalent evaporation. These are performance of boiler, terms related to performance of boiler. Energy supplied to boiler, thermal energy absorbed by steam, thermal efficiency of boiler, evaporating capacity, boiler power, equivalent evaporation. Energy supplied to boiler. Energy number 1 is 1 2 3 4 5 6 topics. Energy, first one is energy supplied to boiler. Boiler receives thermal energy from the combustion of fuel. Boiler receives thermal energy from the combustion of fuel. This amount of energy released depends on mass of fuel burned in a given time, type of fuel used, its calorific value or heating value of the fuel. This amount of energy released depends on mass of fuel burned in a given time, time of fuel used, its calorific value or heating value of fuels. Energy supplied, second one is energy supplied to boiler. MF, mass of fuel used, kg for hour, units. Calorific, CV is equal to calorific value of fuel, kilojoule for kg. Energy supplied to boiler, MF into HCV, units, kilojoule for hours. This is the equation of the energy supplied to boiler. MF, mass of fuel used, kg per hour. See calorific value of fuel. Energy supplied to boiler equal to MF into HCV, kilojoule per hour. Next is energy, third point is energy absorbed by the steam. Energy absorbed by the steam, this depends on energy absorbed by the steam, this depends on amount of steam generated in a given time, temperature of feed water supplied to the boiler, final condition of steam at the outlet of the boiler. This is a depends on amount of steam generated in a given time, temperature of feed water supplied to the boiler, final condition of steam at the outlet of the boiler. Energy required to form steam. How much energy is required to the forming of the steam? Heat to exhaust, superheater, boiler, economizer, heat in. Heat is supplied to this economizer, heat in MF into CV. Supplied to the economizer, economizer to boiler, boiler to superheated, superheated, heat to be exhaust. This process will be done in energy required to form steam. Steam forming this way may be energy may be required. HW1, specific liquid enthalpy. HW1 means specific liquid enthalpy or sensible heat at inlet to the boiler. లేదా sensible heat at inlet to the boiler. S2, specific enthalpy of steam at the exit of the boiler, units kilojoule per kg. Energy required to form steam. Steam forming, this energy may be required. H2 minus HW1 kilojoule per kg. This is the energy required to form steam. HW1, specific liquid enthalpy or sensible heat at inlet to the boiler. H2, specific enthalpy of steam at the exit of the boiler, kilojoule per kg. Energy required to form steam, H2 minus HW1 kilojoule kg. Evaporative capacity. It is the amount of water evaporated or steam produced in kg per hour. It is the amount of water evaporated or steam produced in kg per hour under actual condition. Evaporative capacity means it is the amount of water evaporated or steam produced in kg per hour. Gantaku how much 1 hour how much kg steam may be produced under actual condition. Total evaporation condition, it is also called as total evaporation, MT. Performance of boiler is measured in terms of evaporative capacity. H2 minus HF1 is called factor of evaporation. 2256.9. 9 is latent heat is kilojoule per kg at 100 degree centigrade. This is a evaporative capacity, total evaporation. It is the amount of water evaporated or steam produced in kg per hour under actual condition. It is also called as total evaporation, MT. Performance of boiler is measured in terms of evaporative capacity. H2 minus HF1 is called factor of evaporation. Value is 2256.9. 2256.9 is latent heat in kilojoule per kg at 100 degree centigrade. Actual evaporation, it is the amount of steam generated by the boiler for kg of fuel burn. 1 kg of fuel is burned, how much steam is generated to the boiler? This is called actual evaporation. It is the amount of steam generated by the boiler for kg of fuel burn. It is denoted as MA. Actual evaporation, MA is equal to MT by small mf. This is actual evaporation. The amount of steam generated by the boiler for kg of fuel burn is denoted as MA. Actual evaporation, MA is equal to MT by small mf. Boiler thermal efficiency, it is the ratio of thermal energy utilized to form steam to the thermal energy released by the fuel. It is the ratio of thermal energy utilized. It is the ratio of thermal energy utilized to form steam to the thermal energy. Steam to thermal energy released by the fuel. Boiler thermal efficiency, MT, mass of steam raised in a given time, kg units kg per hour. Mass of fuel used in same time, kg. Efficiency of the boiler. This is a symbol is efficiency symbol. B means boiler, boiler efficiency. Energy utilized to form steam and energy release from fuel. Steam forming per hour, how much energy is utilized? Energy released from fuel. Burning of the fuel, how much energy is released? These two ratio is called boiler efficiency. Energy utilized to form steam, how much energy utilized to steam forming. Energy is released from burning fuel. These two ratio is called boiler efficiency. Mass, enthalpy of steam, enthalpy of feed water. Mass of fuel into heating value of fuel. Mass of fuel into heating value of fuel. These two ratio it is called boiler thermal efficiency. Boiler thermal efficiency. Boiler thermal efficiency. This TH is equal to MT H2 minus HW1 by MF into HHV, where HHV higher heating. Higher heating value of fuel used. HHV means higher heating value of fuel used. MA, mass of steam produced per kg fuel burnt. 1 kg of fuel is burned, how much mass of steam is produced? MA is equal to MT by small mf. Then thermal boiler efficiency. BAMA H2 minus HW1 HCV. Factor influencing boiler efficiency. Factors influencing boiler efficiency. Constant factors, variable factors. Factor influencing boiler efficiency. Constant factor. Design of boiler. Shape and volume of boiler. Furnace. Arrangement of fuels, steam and water circulation. Factor influencing boiler efficiency. Constant factors, built-in losses, accessories, properties of fuels and rate of firing. Variable factors, atmospheric conditions, actual rate of firing, excess air fluctuations, incomplete combustion, humidity and temperature of air supplied for combustion. Boiler HP, power equivalent to an evaporation of 15.563 kg of water per hour from and 100 degree centigrade is 1 horsepower. HP means horsepower. Capacity to evaporated 15.563 kg of water per hour from and at 100 degree centigrade. While horsepower power is equal to MTH2 minus HW1 2256.9 into 15,563. Equivalent evaporation. It is used to compare the performance of two or more boilers. Definition. Equivalent evaporation. It is used to compare the performance of two or more boilers. Equivalent evaporation may be defined as the evaporation which would be obtained if the feed water is supplied at 100 degree centigrade and convert into dry and saturated steam at 100 degree centigrade. Equivalent of evaporation. ME is equal to the thermal energy required from steam under actual condition. The thermal energy required from steam under standard condition. This actual condition and standard condition is thermal energy required from the steam. This ratio is called equivalent evaporation. Heat required to form steam under actual condition MT small mt H2 minus HW1. Heat required to form steam under standard condition 2256.9 kilojoule per kg. ME is equal to MA H2 minus HW1 2256.9. Factor of equivalent evaporation. Factor of equivalent evaporation. It is the ratio of amount of thermal energy absorbed by 1 kg of water in converting into steam under actual condition to that observed under standard conditions. Standard conditions are formation of dry and saturation steam from and at 100 degree centigrade. Factor of equivalent evaporation H2 minus HW1 2256.9. In this period we have discussed about energy supplied to the boiler, energy to form steam. Boiler efficiency is ratio of heat in steam to the heat supplied by the fuel. Boiler efficiency is the ratio of thermal energy in the steam to the thermal energy supplied by the fuel. For the purpose of comparison to steam generating capacity of boiler is generally expressed in terms of equivalent evaporation. In this topic, this question may be asked in exam point of view. Explain terms energy supplied to the boilers, energy to form steam and boiler efficiency. Define evaporative capacity of boiler. Explain factor influencing boiler efficiency. Explain boiler HP, equivalent evaporation, factor of equivalent evaporation. This question may be asked in exam point of view in this topic. Thanks to attending in today class. All of you thanks to attending in today class. Thanks for this. Class is over. All of you thanks. Today class is over. All of you thanks in today class is over.